For a great part of my life, I've had the feeling that I wasn't truly living my own life, that I wasn't really being me. Instead, I was desperately trying to live up to the expectations and the influence from the people around me. Now, the fun thing was that from the outside, I was actually doing rather well. I had a promising, interesting career, but on the inside, I felt really sad and discouraged. And I had this growing feeling that I needed to be doing something entirely different with my career, well, with my life really. The one thing that made it crystal clear to me that I wasn't living my own life, that I was in the wrong place, was a dream, a nightly dream that I had on the night after having accepted a job offer in Indiana, United States. At the time, I'd been working 4 years out of Denmark, and I was very much in doubt as to whether going to the United States was the right thing for me to do at the time. Now, before I get to sharing the actual dream with you and how it made me realize that I should be doing something else, and therefore also how you can use your dreams to guide yourself in your life, before I get to that, I want to share with you the results of a survey that Australian hospice nurse Bronnie Ware made back in 2009. She made it her habit of asking her clients, i.e. patients that were close to dying, she made it her habit to ask them now, as they were lying there, as they were looking back on their life, is there anything they regret? Is there anything they would have done differently? She made a book based on that survey, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. I won't be telling you about all 5 regrets, I'll only share with you 2 of them, top 2. Number 2 regret was a feeling of having worked too much. Basically having worked so much that they didn't have time to be with the people that meant something to them. Regret number 1, to me, is even more frightening or scary, if you want. Regret number 1 was the following. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life in accordance with who I am, and not in accordance with the expectations from the people around me. So in other words, people basically felt that they hadn't lived their own life, that they ought to have been doing something different with their lives. And now back to my own story. Because, you know, think about that for a second. How depressing is that survey really? Imagine what the world would look like if we all had the courage to be who we are, to live our own lives. Back to my own story and the dream that I had. As I told you, for a while I'd had this growing feeling that maybe I ought to be doing something else, but I didn't really know. And instead of, just making a halt in my life, I accepted going to the United States. I didn't know what else to do. And on the very night after having accepted that job offer, I had the following dream. I see a woman kneeling down next to a maybe 30-foot long grave. It's rather narrow. As she kneels down, she's no doubt deeply moved. She's very depressed. She's not crying, but very depressed. And as she sits there, she starts burying one dead baby after another. Little blue, dead and cold babies. And to many, obviously that's the dream in its essence. To many, that dream is potentially very scary. Some would say it's wacky. And well, some of my friends have also said to me that, hey Michael, you shouldn't be sharing that dream. You know, people might think you're crazy. But hey, dream images sometimes are crazy. And you would know that if you can remember your dreams. Images are the language of dreams. That's how they communicate. And what stuff in dreams mean, how you should interpret them, is totally individual. When I dream of dead babies, there's almost no doubt that it means something specific to me in my life, as compared to if you also dreamt of dead babies. What you need to be doing is to ask yourself, what are my associations to babies? What do I think about when it comes to babies? And to me, babies are little creatures who can grow up and become almost anything. And that dream made it very clear to me that by continuing my career, by accepting the job offer in the US, I was burying a lot of other, to me, interesting development opportunities. It was actually rather clear that by staying in that career, I wouldn't truly develop myself further. And that dream, that one dream, gave me the courage to later decide that, hey, I need to be doing something very different. Now, I haven't always been as optimistic and as positive about dreams as I am in my life right now. Actually, on the contrary, I've been very, very skeptical towards this whole idea of working with and listening to interpreting your dreams. But my first acquaintance with dreams was when I was in my mid-20s. I was in a period of my life where I was very discouraged. I felt really sad. I had very low self-esteem, was struggling to find love in my life, and I decided to start seeing a psychologist. I think it was in the third session of therapy when he asked me, "So Michael, tell me something. Do you dream at night? And what do you dream about?" And to me, well, I must have been looking very strange, you know, because to me, dreams and the whole idea of working with dreams was just, you know, a lot of mumbo jumbo, some very alternative stuff. And I think I reacted something along the lines of, dreams? Well, I don't dream. And, you know, I have a very hard time here in my life. And why on earth do we want to discuss my dreams now? Very much in resistance. But I thought to myself, hey, I really have a hard time now, and let me give it a try. Let me start showing my dreams some interest, in other words. And well, that was the first time in my adult life that I showed my dreams interest. And after just a few days, I woke up one morning and I had dreamt. And to me, that was a huge revelation. Wow, I actually do dream. Just by showing my dreams interest, I can suddenly recall them. And well, to me, that was a huge surprise. But the real surprise, the true revelation came when I started working with my dreams, when I started trying to understand what they really try to tell me, what's in them. There was so much insight as to, you know, what were my true problems in life? How can I, you know, get through them? What can I do to get out of them? But mostly there was a lot of insight as to how I myself was the biggest obstacle to moving further with myself in my life. And that was the point in time when I really asked myself, why on earth aren't more people doing this? And of course, I know why that is the case, at least to most people. Many people tend to think the same thing about dreams and dreaming that I did back then, that it's just, you know, some alternative mumbo-jumbo crap. But that was the point in time when I decided that I wanted to dedicate my life to helping people like you to better recall, better understand, and actively use your nightly dreams. So that instead of living other people's life, you can live your own life.